You're live. Yay. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. September, Techtember, just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Good times. It's a good problem to have. Let's let the alert go out, give it a couple minutes. I think in the next couple of weeks, I'm going to starting about 5 minutes early so that we can actually start when the show starts, at the start time, etc. But for now, we'll just give people some time. Yeah. Play this in the background. Sad. Everybody. As you can see, I'm wearing the new Meta glasses. I've got the neural camera on. What else we got going on? I always do this thing where I talk and I talk and I talk and I forget to drink, and then by the time I'm done, my throat is sore for 2 days afterwards. So talking for an hour straight is no joke. Let's see if I can remember to actually take drinks this time. So cheers. It is Friday afternoon. It's 1 o'clock out here in Southern California, so it's not quite happy hour, but maybe we'll bring on some drinks onto the show into the future. Let me know in the comments in the chat what your favorite thing to do to unwind is, to drink, etc. All right, let's get this show on the road. Let's get started here. That song is over, which is great. X is running, YouTube is running, looks like LinkedIn is running as well, so we're 5x5 everywhere. All right, let's get started. Welcome back to Tech for Work. I think that's the name of the show. Yes, Tech for Work by Tab Geeks. That's my company. My name is Jesse Nowlin. I am your host, and I'm obsessed with all things tech. And so I talk about anything new each week that I come across. And Techtember and Techtober has been nonstop and never ending. It feels like it's been. This is the first full week that I've had, and it just feels like it's been one thing after another. I did my video on the new Meta glasses, which I'm wearing on my face and my wrist because it has that neural band here. And I did issue a correction in the form of a short as an apology to Meta. I called them out for the fact that the lenses did not transition into sunglasses seemingly at all. It really seemed like it wasn't transitioning at all. And yes, I was in a car, but it was an older car, and that car did not have the kind of IR blocking that modern cars have. Yes, I learned that this week that modern cars have some IR blocking on the windows, and so therefore transitional lenses may not, especially if they're not that sensitive, may not detect that form of light, and they won't tint darker. The same reason why it doesn't react to my studio light here in front of me is because that's not IR coming from the sun. That is just light waves. Apparently, there's a difference. So now you know. That being said, I did take these outside and stare directly into the setting Southern California sunset, and they did get somewhat tinted. I wouldn't say it's quite dark. I would say it's tinted. It does do what they said it does, but it's not really all that dark. And quite frankly, for me, I wish they would have used lenses that are just A little bit darker as a default, and then tint down to a couple stops even darker as glasses mode or sunglasses mode, because it's really bright, and I want to be able to have, if I'm wearing sunglasses, I want to be able to have them be sunglasses. So I did correct that. Go check out the short on the channel, because that will clarify what's going on there. The other thing I wanted to correct was, I think it was last week's show, or maybe it was in my video, I stated that Xreal had a version of the Meta glasses that was coming. As far as I know, that is not the case. I misspoke. What they do have coming is the Samsung Galaxy XR version of Android XR, obviously without all of the Samsung One UI extra crapware that they put in there. Um, but as I understand it, it'll be similar to Xreal's other glasses, except for the fact that it'll be running the whole operating system in XR mode, in virtual reality mode, where it's got the full two screens, one of each lens, one on each side of your eyes, one for each of your eyes, and it will from there be similar to a virtual reality environment, just without all of the sensors, or most of the sensors and light blocking capabilities that the Samsung Galaxy XR comes with. um, I Google does have a demo of a version of the Meta glasses running Android XR. There's a version of Android XR that does do the it's not quite augmented reality, and this is also another thing that I wanted to clarify. Virtual reality is, think Apple Vision Pro, think Meta Quest, think totally closed out. You can't see anything in your surroundings unless you turn on pass through, which uses the cameras to give you your real world environment around you in your virtual setting. Um, Augmented reality, as it is technically defined, is overlaying something onto your world. And it does that by detecting objects, and then you can place something on the wall. So, say in the Apple Vision Pro with pass through mode, it does do this, where you can place a clock or a picture frame, or your calendar up on the wall, and then when you look around, you'll see that it's still there. That's augmented reality, a virtual layer overlay onto your world. What's going on with the Meta glasses and some of the others, Meta glasses, as well as what Google is working on for the that version of AR, is there's a screen. The screen doesn't move. It doesn't attach to anything in your world. It's just always there. When I pinch my fingers like this, well, like this, if you can see it there, I get the vibration over there, and up in my display right here is the interface, and I can swipe over so that it fills, to get more of the menu to show up. That is permanently there until I either don't do anything and it turns off after a little bit, or I pinch my fingers together and now it's gone again. It's hard to show because you can't see through the glasses. I'm trying to rig together a way in which I can show that with a camera and maybe some 3D printing. We'll see. But essentially, that screen doesn't apply to the world. It's just there on the world. It's floating with you. It's always directly in your line of sight when it is on and activated. Now, that's great for things like maps and ambient information, text messages, notifications, things that are coming off your phone. Not so great for interacting with content or working with a augmented world. So let's say, for example, you go to a museum and you want to walk up to a display that tells you about the I don't know, what's the museum I recently went to? I went to NASA. I went to the Johnson Space Center in NASA a couple of weeks ago. If I were to walk around the display where they're showing off the Artemis rocket or the Artemis program and the Orion spacecraft, etc., with augmented reality glasses, I could have them, and obviously you would need to program them for this in advance, but I could have them um, display things in the world that pop up of the different things in different areas that I'm looking at based on that world, versus these where it's always with you and it always just has that information. So I've been wearing these. I've been enjoying these. I am very disappointed that they don't get very dark. I'm still on the fence of whether I'm going to keep them. When I wear them, I'm blown away. It's incredible. The tech is amazing. It's really mind blowing how you can control your screen on your face with your wrist without and even being anywhere near it or even seeing the glasses. You could do it behind your back. It does take a little bit of practice, but you can eventually get there. Um, Essentially, I want it to do more. At this point in time, all it does is first party apps, with the exception of audio. So, audio, they partnered with Spotify and iHeartRadio and a couple of others so that you can tap directly into those and play your music on those services. But that's not your notifications. That's not like my X notifications showing up on the screen in the glasses because I got a notification on my phone. That's because they actually built that input for those apps. It's worth it for me when I no longer have to take out my phone to see the notifications that come in. I get a lot of notifications every day. And if I'm wearing these and it pops up here instead of on my watch and on my phone, one of the reasons why I wear the watch is because I can just glance at the notifications that I'm getting and say, okay, I don't have to act on that. That's not important. That can wait till later. Or, oh, that's okay. Good to know. That was just a one liner. I now know the information. I don't have to pull out my phone. Or, oh, that's something I have to act on and I want to reply. Or, it's important with now whether it's a text message, a WhatsApp message, a X message, or not even messages. Just like I was saying, my X notifications or emails that come in or things like that. Most of that does not come through with the glasses. I do get text messages. I do get WhatsApp messages. I don't really use Facebook Messenger or Instagram Messenger. So if I did, I would see those and be able to respond to those, but I don't. I do use WhatsApp a lot. So that's where it has become rather helpful for me is because I have an international family and a community of folks that use WhatsApp rather significantly for a lot of our coordination and stuff. It's very helpful that a lot of my chat communications go through WhatsApp because now it comes up on the glasses. And if I'm walking around, I'm in the store shopping for groceries or whatever it is, it just pops up on here and I can, through moving my fingers, respond, communicate, trigger off updates, or just see what it is, and that's been fantastic. So, for example, my wife and I like to use a WhatsApp group for our shopping lists. So when we were walking around Trader Joe's, I didn't even have to have out my phone to check the items that I was getting off the shopping list and not literally check them, but just read through the shopping list and say, okay, I got all the things that we need in order to make a soup this evening, etc. And that was super, super handy, and I really, really like that. That being said, I don't find myself wearing them as much indoors as I thought because they're thick, they're heavy, and I don't know why I'm still wearing them. I guess because I'm talking about them. But the glass itself on the lenses are thick. And what that means is, especially when you're indoors, especially with a lot of things around you that are reflective, is it picks up a lot of reflections off of various different surfaces, as well as it's just a little bit harder to see the world. And I don't wear glasses normally. And so for me, having that, and it's ironic because I was talking about having the sunglasses on, which also make it harder to see the world, but it's it's almost like a little extra effort in order to see my screens instead of just having them off. And the most valuable feature for me, or features for me, for wearing these indoors would be or are the screen, obviously, to see the notifications and so on. If it did all my notifications, especially, but also the downward firing speakers. Because if I'm editing video at night or I'm working on something and I'm keeping an ear out for what's going on around the house, I'm currently waiting for UPS to deliver my Samsung Galaxy XR, for example, hoping that it happens in time so that I can unbox it live on the show. We'll see. But I need to keep an ear out for things like that. If I've got my AirPods in or my Sony, I have Sony wired high quality, high definition over ear monitors that I use for editing oftentimes. If I have those on, I don't hear anything. And I'm in the zone and it's great, but there are times when I need to be in the zone and when I don't need to be in the zone. And the downward firing speakers of these and the X-Rail glasses and the Meta Ray-Ban regular sunglasses, not the screen ones, that enables that, and that's fantastic. Hold on, my kid's school is calling. 1 second here. Let me mute this. Okay, sorry about that. My daughter apparently isn't feeling well, so hopefully she gets better um, and has a nice weekend to rest. But that's important to get those calls. So thank you for waiting. Sorry. What was I saying about wearing the glasses inside? Right. So downward firing speakers is fantastic for that, even if it's not the same high quality fidelity that you would get from AirPods Pro or from the wired headphones. It's good enough for most of what I'm doing when I am in that in that mode. And because these are so heavy, I actually preferred wearing just the sunglasses, even indoors at night, because my screens are still bright enough that I can see them. Yes, it is harder to see them, but they're so lightweight that it didn't bother me. And this has led me to understand that hey, open ear headphones are actually really practical, and maybe I should stop spending hundreds of dollars on really cool headsets and just buy a pair of open ear headphones because it seems that's one of the ways that I majorly use these. But if you want to hear more about the adventure that I had going to Vegas to pick these up, go and watch my video. I'm not going to continue talking about it so much more. We've already spent 15 minutes on it here. I'm going to move on to some more interesting stuff. But let me know, are you picking these up? Are you interested in demoing these? I did just hear that they're going to be now what do you call it, doing demos and selling them in certain Verizon stores. So if you haven't gotten the chance, or if your appointment for at a Meta store is way too far out, then maybe try that when those open. Also, I was supposed to be today, as I mentioned last week's video, I was supposed to be today at the new Meta store, or the Meta store reopening rather, in Los Angeles. I discovered in talking to the team in the Las Vegas store that was delayed. So now it is slated for October 31st for Halloween. So I will go out there and I will cover that, and hopefully I'll be back in time because the store opens I think at 10, excuse me, at 10 o'clock in the morning. So hopefully I'll be able to cover that, and that should make an interesting video showing off what they're doing there. It's a whole two-story. They have like a ton of space there. They're doing like different experiences, and because they've got the Vanguards and the Oakley this and the Meta that and the different types and whatnot, so they're showing off all the different ways that you can use the glasses there, and so that'll be really interesting to cover as well. All right, enough of that. Let's get into the next one. Let me see how this shows on camera. This is the Oakley Vanguards. Now, I did get a chance to actually try these on and film a short while I was in the store in Las Vegas. So it's not my first time hands-on, but it is my first time um, using these directly. That's like a double. You got the outside package, and then you've got another package here. I don't know why they're double sleeved like that, but okay. And this is my first time unboxing because I did not actually unbox them. So we're just going to pull the tab over here and open that up. And inside the box, similar to the other ones, you've got your branding up top here. And then these are a little bit heavier. You've got your charging case and the glasses in there. And then down here is your getting started guide and your documentation. Scan to get started. I'm going to pull that out. This is a little bit more substantial than on the other ones because, oh, I haven't seen this anywhere. These come with a carrying pouch in addition to the carrying case. And I wonder if it's meant to be used. The charging case doesn't fit in here. So I'm guessing that the pouch is meant for the glasses to reside in when they're not charging or on your face. And then the other side here has a large not so large, a getting started booklet, which is just actually unfolds like so, explains all the different elements there. And then the safety and warranty guide, that's a bit larger. So putting all that aside, let's get into the actual glasses themselves. Actually, before we do that, underneath the glasses is the nose pads, and let's get this open. I don't want to like rip it. Oh, there we go. In the nose pads, you have a couple of different options there of what do you call it, of sizes for fitting on the bridge of your nose. Now, a couple of interesting things about the Vanguards is they're waterproof, which would make sense given the audience. They are IP67 waterproof rated, which means that they can technically be submerged in up to 3 feet of water for a couple of minutes. So if you take a spill or you get water on them or sweat on them, you'll be fine. All right, this case is large. Now, for example, this case, which is for the displays, is pretty big. Side by side, you can see how much bigger it is. Also, it doesn't have the added benefit of the super cool feature of the display case, which does fold flat. Now it's really makes a big difference. So let me see, do I have... nope, I don't have the regular Meta Ray-Ban display case with me. Not display, the regular Ray-Ban Meta glasses case with me to show that off. But suffice it to say, it's smaller than this one. You got this is a solid case, and it has the battery inside, of course, and you have your nice magnetic pull over here. So I'm going to pull this up, and the ones that I got, just pull them out here, are the black frames with the white frames, excuse me, with the black lenses. Now, the lenses themselves are replaceable. They do come off, and you can mix and match and swap them out. Or I guess technically, if you wanted to, you could wear the glasses with just the camera on the bridge here and the audio features with no lenses on them, which would be kind of funny looking, but you could do it. First things out of the box in trying these on, I am not the target market for these. These are enormous. Like, look at this side to side here. These are huge on my face. Maybe if I was wearing a baseball hat like I normally do, or something else on my head, they wouldn't look as big as I feel like they look. Actually, these don't look as big as they did in the original video. They are still massive. I mean, that's substantial. But these are polarized and they are really dark and really go the other direction completely of satisfying how much I want them to be. Sunglasses. Is that scratched already? I just took that out of the box. It better not be a scratch. Uh-oh. All right, I'll have to spend some time on that and see if that's actually a scratch or no. It looks like it. No, it came off. Yes. Yeah, came off. Okay, cool. These are basically the same internals, except better waterproofing, as the Gen 2s and as the house duns. The big difference here is that the camera, let's see if I can show this. The camera is here in the middle. All right. And the reason why that's important is because on the regular Ray-Ban, on the regular Gen 2s, the camera is, oh, sorry, where's my camera? Is off to the side. This is the one that indicates that you're recording. And this is the one that records on the right side. Sorry, the left side indicates the recording. Sorry, start over. The left side is the camera in which it records. The right side has the sensor and the light, which indicates that you are recording. Versus on the whatever these are called, the Vanguards, you have the camera in the center, and then directly above that, over here, you have the status light as well. Also on the stems. Somebody corrected me on YouTube earlier and said that these are called the stems. So thank you for that. The sides, the folding things on the glasses, those are thicker and chunkier as well, which you can see in here like so. And they have your usual internals as well as the touch interface on the side and some buttons. You have where is it? The one of these buttons is the camera button. I believe it's this one right here. And then you have another button, which is an action button, which you can actually assign things to. And then I don't remember, was there a third button? There is the third button over here. So one's camera, one is music. I don't remember. I gotta look at the thing. I'm forgetting already. Power button, capture button, camera, touchpad, capture LED, speakers, microphone. You have an action button and a capture button and a power button. Okay, so that's what it is. The power is not a little toggle like it is on the other ones. It's an actual button. So you can press the power button and then you have the action button like normal to take your pictures or whatever. And then you also have a action button that you can program to be what you program it to. These have all kinds of interesting integrations with your running apps like Strava and Garmin, where it will show in the app, not on these don't have displays in them, they're just just lenses, where it will show your speed and your stats and the things that you're doing while you're running. um, the these are pinching on the back of my head, I'm realizing, so maybe keep an eye out on that, or an ear out on that. But the only other major thing that sets these apart is the speakers. The speakers are phenomenal. They went back to the drawing board with these. They're a whole 6 decibels louder. And when I was testing them in the store, they got so loud I couldn't hear the guy next to me talking to me. So that was very impressive. And it will come in very handy and is important because when I took the regular Ray-Bans just for a test on the beach, going 20 miles an hour on my electric scooter, I couldn't hear the music very well that was coming out of them, never mind a phone call. With these, I feel that's going to be much larger, and I will do the same test. I'm actually going to change up my testing location. I'm going to leave from Long Beach, where I usually record, and go over to Santa Monica Pier, which I think is going to be more interesting as far as capturing what goes on in a testing environment. Jumping back over to the VR side, Pixel 3D VR, how's it going? Thanks for joining the chat. It says Galaxy XR is so obsolete. Giant VR nerd here for over a decade. This thing does nothing for me, and I'm very open-minded. It's not half Apple Vision price. It's just subpar. Well, it is half Apple Vision price, but have you used it? I mean, it's very brand new. It's only just arriving today. I suppose you could have bought it in store yesterday. I did use the Android XR variant, which doesn't, as I mentioned before, doesn't have the One UI stuff that Samsung tacks onto it. I use that at IO, and it really was quite fantastic. And the ability to have all of the the Android apps that are already in there, I think is going to democratize it for a lot of people where there'll be a lot more interest than maybe those who didn't want to try the Meta glasses or the other glasses that are out there. I think at launch to call it obsolete is a little much. I don't, I can't say that I agree with you. I think that it's very early and it's just the beginning, and we need to take a look at this and let them cook a bit. Um, I think what they have now is a really good start on there, and you're going to get, I mean, just looking at the demand, it's already out to what, third week in November, I think, for shipping. Mine is arriving today, and even I was having difficulty ordering it day of, to the point where the forum kept erroring out and failing until I finally got it. I could not even get it scheduled to pick up in store. So there's definitely demand for this. Pixel 3D VR says, I've used it but don't own it, but it's a joke for 2026 wider release. Okay. I don't have as much experience as you do on it. I definitely want to check it out, which is why I bought it. I am personally disappointed that it seems like it doesn't connect to do screen sharing with a Mac. It does with Windows, but I primarily use a Mac. And yes, I could get the Apple Vision Pro, but as we said here, it's twice the freaking price, and I don't want to spend $3,500 on the headset. $2,000 still painful, but at least it's worth trying it and seeing if it will work for my setup. I am traveling to the Ubiquiti World Conference in Miami on the 3rd, and I'll be in Vegas before that. So I will be taking this with me on those plane flights once cross country. So that's going to be a nice long one to test it out. I will bring a Windows laptop to test out the using that as a work interface compared to what I do with my X-Real glasses for work as well. But overall, I think it's pretty early to tell. So I guess stay tuned on that front. Um, all right. I know that there's a lot of Ubiquiti folks in the audience here who are patiently waiting for me to get to the Ubiquiti main attraction over here. This is the G6 Pro Dome, and it's basically the same as the G6 Pro Bullet and a bunch of others in the G6 lineup, if I'm not mistaken, but it's in a dome form factor. So when you open the box, you have your installation guide as always, and straight inside, I already took off the little hat because I took some pictures of it, glamour shots. But here's the camera. It is basically all metal, polycarbonate, etc. Very heavy, very solid. I gotta find the screwdriver in there so that we can take the top off. And there's a little springy screw over there, security screw. So we'll get into that. I don't want to put this down too hard because I don't want to hit the microphone. Pixel 3D VR replies, I am a happy owner of X-Real and look forward to Aura, but Galaxy, yet another giant brick, does nothing revolutionary. So you're interested in Android XR, but Galaxy is not really doing much for you because the X Rail, as I understand it, is going to be the same thing that you're going to see, relatively the same thing because it won't have the Samsung stuff in it. But the same thing that you're going to be seeing on the Galaxy XR is going to be in the glasses from X Rail in Project Aura, as I understand it. It's not, as I mentioned before, it's not AR, it's not the Meta glasses equivalent. It's similar to what you have, or exactly what you're going to see in the Samsung glasses. Anyway, moving on to what's in the box here. You've got a couple of different mounts as usual. Your ceiling mount and your what do you call it? Your ceiling mount and your drop ceiling mount, and then you have your oops, that fell out. Desiccant, do not eat. I always say that. That's a good warning, just to make sure. You have your mounting template, of course, and then show off the inside of the box here. Further inside the box, you have a Ubiquiti branded wrench. I think this is really cute. They started doing this. Look at this nice little Ubiquiti logo on the wrench there. It's nice, tasteful touch. I like it. I'm not going to put that on the desk because that's going to clang into the microphone. We also have I don't think this is Ubiquiti branded, but it is a Ubiquiti screwdriver, and that's how we're going to get into the camera itself. And then you have your different size grommets for mounting it, as well as the rest of the mounting hardware. They really pack it in here. So you've got your mounting screws, and then your longer mounting screws for drop ceiling, etc., and your reading documentation, etc. Don't need any of that. And then, as I mentioned, the different grommets for your different cable glands, I believe they're called, etc. So put that aside over there, and let's unscrew the camera real quick. Let's see the comments here. Pixel 3D VR says, if they can pull off X-Real form factor with Android XR, yes, that's big, but nearly 4 times the Quest price. For the Galaxy VR is not anything worthwhile. It's just a letdown, just like Apple Vision Pro, and still, Yeah, no, I hear that, and I honestly, when I tested it out, and what I've been saying for the last several months is this headset should have cost $1,000, not $2,000, and certainly not $3,500. I think X-Real is going to have a serious hit on its hands, given the power and breadth of use and capability that Android XR is bringing to the table. But that also depends on what their price point is. If X-Real comes out and says that their glasses are $1,500, that's still going to scare off a lot of people, and you're not going to get any kind of mass adoption. I'm sure because it's Android, you're going to get other partners that are going to be developing headsets similarly, but it's not. Um, we're still a ways away from mass adoption on that front, and it's still early adopter. Now, I'm a little bit obsessed. I guess I'm a little bit more newer to the obsession than you are, but still a little bit obsessed over it, and so that's why I'm buying it. Also, I'm not much of a gamer per se. I do game, but it's mostly on the Nintendo Switch, and so that makes me a little bit of a heretic in these circles, I suppose. And how is this? Why isn't this opening? And I don't use it for that use case, which is a big part of the use case for that. What am I doing wrong here? To open, it's not coming off. Whoop. Well, that's one piece of it. Samsung likes to dabble with new tech and then fail in most basic ways, just like the Samsung Odyssey 3D monitor. Yeah, no, I agree with you, and that's why I keep saying like I really don't like when Samsung puts all of their extra bloatware on the system. But that's what we got. That's what's out there right now, and I want to be one of the first to try. Oh, here we go. I don't know why it wasn't coming off. I want to be one of the first people to try Android XR. All right, on to the Ubiquiti stuff. Again, I finally got the cover off here. I don't know why that was so tight. I guess that's a good thing. It does have a nice little tab here, which holds on to the two pieces, which is very nice. You've got the solid dome. You have should recognize this just from the other form factors. You've got that nice, big, beautiful lens. Let me bring up the specs page here and share my screen. Store.ui.com. Let's get the screen sharing going. This tab. Share it. So this is the dome. So over here, as I mentioned, it's all weather, or I think I mentioned, I may not have mentioned that. It's a 4K PoE camera. Of course, it has a multi-tops AI engine. It has a 2.36x optical zoom, which is always nice to see, and a 1/1.2 inch CMOS sensor. So that's going to do really well at night and with night vision. I did get a lot of flack for the way that I tested the 360 camera because all of the cameras that I have bunched up out there, it was just blasting the IR in all directions, and it did not come out well. So I apologize for that. I will try and do a better job when I throw this on the rig later and start testing this. But overall, you've got, I mentioned the 4K sensor, the zoom, a 40 meter, so it's 131 feet of IR night vision. You have your SD card slot, which is over on the inside here, and that's for your edge recording. It's micro SD. And you have your light sensor, which is important, and you don't have the little pigtail. You have the network cable. Your Ethernet cable goes directly into the camera here, which I always really like to see. I'm not such a fan of the pigtails because you have to drill a much bigger hole for those as opposed to these, and it's also just another thing that can break. So let's see here. You have a reset button on the inside, and then what else are we missing over here? It's IP66 rated, which is fantastic, and tamper resistant at IK10 rating, which is basically bulletproof. It's really, really strong. So that's fantastic. We can plug it in over here and take a quick look if you are interested. I just have to grab a cable for that and drink. I have to remember to drink. Which one of the cables should I use? I have so many cables around me here for all of the different things. All right, we're going to use this one. Since I haven't actually started playing around with the NAS, the UNAS 2. I'm going to plug this in like so, and then I'll bring up my, that sounds like my bowls when you clang them together. I don't know if you can hear that. I'll bring up my my dashboard. Right away, you can see the, let's see, can you see? Where's that light? Here you go. You can see the little status light blinking over there, right next to where it says attach desiccant here. The desiccant is going to be attached with adhesive, which is included over there. The camera, I can feel the zoom lens rolling around in there and turning on. So let me switch this tab to Hold on a second. Stop sharing. Go to my test rack. Make sure that I don't show you things I'm not allowed to show you, because that would not be good, and Ubiquiti would get mad, and so on. If you want me to continue doing this, then we need to be careful of such things. Alrighty here. So, right away we've got new device added. Now, why is this black? The reason why this is black is because I still have everything running on the on the NAS instance, and I have to move all of those cameras back over to here. And I'm probably going to do that for this test, but because of the way that I've done this, it's been a little funky. So we're just going to add this to this one system because it's the only thing on here, and this is my UDM Pro Max running here in the test track behind me, and you can see it actually sees the G6 Pro 360, but I'm not going to adopt that because it's still on the other thing. So we've got the G6 Pro Dome, and now you can see right up my nose here, it's preparing an update. So we will let it run that. But right away here on the screen, you've got your usual model information, device version, when the last time it had motion was, MAC address, IP address, frames per second, bitrate, uptime. I like that they moved this front and center because now you can actually see what it's set to without having to go into the settings and be like, oh, did I set that, to the highest bit rate or the lowest or whatever? So you can see that. And then you can also see the different alarms that you have set up for it and when they trigger. On the second tab here, like usual, you have your recording options. I tend to always record and continuous. I create AI events and all of that jazz. Oftentimes I will in frames per second, I'll match it out. I'll max it out because I like seeing smoother video and I mean, I mess around with it all the time because I'm constantly testing these things. And then compression, I always go for best image quality because I don't really have a problem with storage. And honestly, I figure if I'm putting all these money into the money, if I'm putting all the money into these cameras, there's so much money into cameras, I want all the goodness that they can provide. So and then I always do time and camera name. And sorry, Ubiquiti, I get rid of the logo. And then recording retention, I do auto. Then the next tab, just like anything, anytime that you've seen any of these other cameras, you've got your zones and lines in which you can set up motion zones and smart zones, crossing lines, privacy blackouts. Crossing lines means, in case you're not familiar with it, you can basically say if some don't notify until somebody crosses this line. If they cross this line, then count however long it is, and then you know what do you call it? What's going on here? Huh? Sorry, my nanny was messaging me, and that was confusing. Yeah, so you're going to be able to work with the crossing lines here, and then you have your settings tab, which of course has the name and microphone settings and image settings, and pretty much is all the same. I think it is literally all the same for any of the other cameras that you have here. It is updating supposedly, but I will click this. We're already in high quality. I've got. I mean, the lighting is really weird right here because it's under a direct studio light and I'm very close to it, but there you can see some of the light coming off of that or some of the images coming off of that. So, um, yeah, you can adjust the focus. You can then highlight faces or persons, vehicles, vehicle type, color, license plate, animal, confidence level, how long something has been idling there, and then you can show all of that on the hover. It's still getting started, so I'm not sure it's going to pick up all of that just now. The light on the top here is blue. Whoa, don't show the whole studio. That looks like crap. There you go. The light on the top there is blue, and that means that it is working. At some point here, it's going to go into a reboot here for the, what do you call it? For the update, but that hasn't happened yet. And then the other thing to point out is that the way that this moves around is just up and down. I don't see any way that it goes side to side. If you want to go side by side, side to side, you can, I guess, move the camera around. But don't quote me on that. I'm not 100% certain, but that is. Oh no, you can. I'm lying. You can move it around. It moves. It moves. It moves. Can you see this? Yeah. I guess I can stop sharing my screen so that you can actually see what I'm sharing. Here you go. What I'm showing. It does move side to side. It was just really tight, and I didn't want to break it. So, all right. Well, that's running an update and whatnot. We can come back to that if there's any questions, but that's pretty straightforward there. Let's take a look at the other cameras that they announced, which I think are also very interesting. A second here. Let me share my screen again. Okay, so camera security, and they're out of stock. They're down here. The G6 Pro turret. Um, this is a nice camera. I just like the way these look. Personally, I like these better than the domes. They are slightly less secure than the domes. If you really need like hardcore protection, go dome. But these um, are just really nice cameras. They're solid size. They're not that compact, but they are more compact than the dome. But this is again coming next year, so January 2026. So we're gonna have a little bit of time to wait for that. But it just looks so sleek, and with the blue ring and the LED on there, no, the whole thing is just a really nice camera. So I'm a big fan of these. And then the crazy one that they finally came out with, I've been wondering if they were going to do something like this for a while, is the AI multi-sensor 4 for the absolutely positively must have hypercritical recording of everything in the area at a very high quality 360 won't quite cut it view. This is what that's for. It's literally four cameras in one. And this is great if you're at an intersection and you want to capture everything, four different angles, or if you are, in like a doctor's office or have four different stations that you want cameras on to see what people are doing, say for like a money counting operation, for, gambling casino type of a thing. I've definitely seen those out there. I've seen these in airports as well. Um, TSA security always has cameras like these showing up. So really, high importance, um, high security locations. And somebody was commenting online, well, what about, directly under the camera? Yes, if you're directly under the camera, you're not really going to see much. But that being said, top-down views like that are very difficult, which also is one of the issues that folks have had with the 360-degree cameras, is that because it's top down like that, it does make it harder if somebody is directly under there. Now, yes, you can see what's happening, but you can't see faces or anything like that. So I would recommend, if that is a concern of yours, put another camera as a context camera up in the corner so that you can see that cross section down below the camera like that. It is also IK10 rated, so again, practically bulletproof. It is weatherproof, IP66, so use it indoor or outdoor, and you can put that on a ceiling, pole, wall, corner, pendant, T-bar, etc. Also has the micro SD card. It says SSD. It's probably micro SD, just like all the rest of the cameras. But okay, yeah, that's just a typo. We'll have to send that over to the team and let them know. And then you have the LED indicator that points down. So this is going to be a real beast of a camera. I'm looking forward to get hands on with it. It's not going to be cheap. I think it's going to be a pretty pricey camera, but for those who really need this and for those environments, it's going to be a really fantastic offering. And there has been some other offerings in the market out there, and I've been wondering, like Chinese brands or whatever. I've been wondering when Ubiquiti is going to get around to putting this together. And just from this shot alone, look at all those IR emitters on there. Wow, that's going to light up the night really nicely. Um, Definitely going to have to install that and test that, because that looks super cool, really nice. That's coming Christmas time. Well, not Christmas time, December 2025. So sometime in December, it might be Christmas time. Usually not, though. I think Ubiquiti tends to take a break towards the end of the year. So maybe we'll see it before then. What else do I have to share with you about that? We talked about the G6 Pro Dome and the turret and the AI multi-sensor. So those were the big items there. I do still owe you the UPS 2U rack-mounted review. This is right here, and it's fantastic. I've been playing around with it. I haven't filmed the review yet, and I haven't unscrewed anything yet to show what's inside, but I do plan on doing all of that as long as I can get all the screws out and get into it, which would be, not too bad. And then I also have the UNAS 2, I think it's called, that I have to unbox, and I'm hoping that they send over some of the bigger ones, because I want to upgrade from my original UNAS, and I have some extra drives now that I want to put in there and migrate 20 gigabytes, 23 gigabytes, sorry, 23 terabytes of storage that's currently on there onto the new larger array. So that'll be an interesting video to show how that is done as well. Google had some interesting news. Was that this week? I think it was this week. Maybe it was last week. Save the date for Google Cloud Next in Las Vegas. It is going to be April 22nd to the 24th in 2026. That is always a very good time. The tickets aren't available yet. I will post them on X as soon as I see that they become available. That's always a fantastic show, and I learn so much every year that I go. Last year, I did host the official Google Workspace meetup on behalf of Google and with Google, which was an absolute honor to do, and I am grateful for them for giving me that opportunity. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, we'll see. Maybe they'll let me do it again, and then we can have even more folks there. And I will be sure to let you know about all of that as well. What else do we have going on? I am working on doing a video on Gemini Enterprise because that was, I think, Agent Space and a whole bunch of other stuff that they've now tied into Gemini for Enterprise. And it's really the next level, next generational step for business and AI use. It's not limited to just Google products, it's actually capable of tapping into Salesforce and other partners and other places that your data resides as a business. And um, it's a really big step to see Google going down into interoperability that much when it comes to Gemini being able to access and work with that information. And it really unlocks a lot of the strengths that Gemini has had up till now just using the internal data. That being said, it will cost more. So we went on this roller coaster ride from no AI to what was it, Bard, and then Bard became Duet, and then there was Duet licenses, so you could buy Duet licenses for $20 or $30 a month, depending on what you needed, and then that became Gemini, and then Gemini went away, or not Gemini went away, but the licensing went away. Everybody got it for free as long as you were a certain tier and above. And now we're back to another tier in addition to the other tier that we already had, in which you can buy Gemini for Enterprise. So, quite an interesting roller coaster while things got figured out. This really feels like the final form, not necessarily the final form, because there's still lots of room to grow and a tremendous amount of change is happening at a very, very rapid pace in this area. Um, but that being said, this feels like the final direction of how it's going to come out. You're going to have Gemini tools and capabilities and access to Gemini in the app for regular workspace users of business standard and above, basically, and possibly even lower as this all gets cheaper to do. And then if you want to do the really, really impressive stuff and really powerful stuff, then you have to move up to one of the more paid plans or add-ons, shall we say. So that'll be interesting to keep an eye on, and I am going to work on a video for that. Um, I think that's pretty much all the major things that I wanted to go over this week. It's been a crazy week. I flew to Vegas for the day just to buy the glasses, and then I was really hoping that I was going to have the Samsung Galaxy XR headset here, but it looks like UPS is running a little slow today because usually they deliver if it says like starting at noon. Usually I'm one of the first stops when they deliver at noon. So I guess they had a lot of packages there. Oh, yeah, AWS broke the internet. We didn't talk about that. Um, I actually kind of was one of the first people to break that news on over on Twitter, on X, because I went to watch Star Wars, not Star Wars, Star Trek, sorry. I watched Star Wars with my son around dinner time, and then I watched Star Trek with my wife around bedtime. So we're dual fandom, many fandom household here. Geeks all around, nerds all around. And I opened up Amazon, and I have my Paramount through Amazon, and I couldn't find my keep watching anywhere. I couldn't find any of my data anywhere. It was hardly working. I was like, Amazon, why is this so bad? Why do you hate my shows that I'm currently watching? Why do you constantly hide this from me? And then I was like, wait, nothing is working. And then I went on my phone because nothing was working, and my wife read a book instead. And all of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, a bunch of other stuff isn't working also. And then I saw that some companies were complaining about Amazon, and then I saw that Amazon had said that it was a small problem, and at the time it was just a small problem, or so they thought, until it turned out that lots of other websites were going down and were not able to be accessed even at all or hardly. And Amazon.com went down, and well, not entirely, but I had made some orders and they still haven't been delivered. Some of them have, parts of them have, still haven't gotten through that whole backlog. So it was really bad for about 18 hours or so. Um, but everything is back online. They figured out what the problem was. They moved on. Yes, it was DNS because it's always DNS, but it was due to an automation that occurred that then did a whole bunch of other problems down the road. And they have killed that automation globally so that that doesn't happen again. So that was fun. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you are interested in going to the Ubiquiti conference, I I imagine it's sold out, but I haven't seen anything saying it's sold out. So if you still haven't gotten your ticket, you do have to request. Go ahead, go over to the Ubiquiti World Conference website and request your spot. It is in Miami. I will be flying out there. First, I'm going to Vegas for an event, and then I'm going from there directly to Miami. And hopefully, we'll do some kind of a meetup or get together, or hang out or whatever. If you're going to be there, please drop a comment, let me know, or hit me up on Twitter. And let's schmooze. Look for the Tab Geek shirt. I am wearing the right one today. So look for the shirt. I'll be wearing it down there, or yeah, it is down for me, down and over there during the conference. So give you all a couple minutes back for your week, and next week we will have even more unboxings and updates to go through, I'm sure, because Techtober isn't over yet, and it just keeps going. So have a great week, everybody. Thank you for joining as always, and have a great weekend. And I will see you next time and on my videos. Thanks for watching.